Hi, Neil. Nice to have you with us. Right, let's make a start because we've got some lovely stuff
How
to get
about
through this
a
morning.
tizzy wizzy in the call? Is that all
Oh,
right?
yeah, that's absolutely fine.
Tizzy whiz,
What?
Is
Tizzy
that all right?
Wishy?
tizzy whiz, tizzy
A
wizzy.
tizzy wizzy.
Tizzy Wizzy. Tizzy
Chris,
Wizzy.
Chris
Tizzy
Dennett
wizzy.
once did a computer game about tizzy wizzy, didn't you, Chris?
Yeah, I sure did. Fly Tizzy Fly, I think it was called.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember it at Windermere Jetty.
Mm.
Anyway, sorry to digress.
No, I feel like that's been
Need to
quite
borrow, if you need to borrow, you know.
it's worth having. Right, okay, well, let's make a start. Really nice to see everybody as ever. And this morning we're going to share a few bits and bobs. We're going to ask you how old you are as well, which is what we did last week, but in a very anonymous way, because we're just trying to do a baseline measurement of the age of people that join these Friday calls, because with See It to Be It, we're just trying to see whether we could nudge it down slightly to see if we can get one or two more younger thoughts and heads onto this call as well. So anonymously, we'll ask you your age. If you don't want to answer it, it's fine. But we're just going to track it over a few weeks and see where we get to. So we'll do that in due course. I'm also going to talk up the podcast that I've just made about the beautiful Barrow Music Weekender, which is taking place next weekend. So I'll talk about that a bit too. But our main dishes of the day this morning are Sarah McGlynn, who's sitting there in Cheltenham, not in Cumbria, for a good reason. She's on research purposes. She works at Tullie. She's the exhibitions manager at Tullie, and she's going to talk to us about Colour, which is the lovely new exhibition that's just opened for the autumn and winter at the recently refurbished Tullie. We're going to hear from Sue Nichols, who's going to join us in about 10 minutes, who's in charge of a beautiful 40-piece flute orchestra that I came across on recent travels. And we're going to find out why and how you can make 40 flutes sound beautiful, both indoors and outdoors. And then Stephen Ray with Tizzy Wizzy there in Ulverston. Stephen's written a number of books, and the book we're going to talk about specifically this morning is this book here, which is called Folklore of the Lake District. It's got a beautiful drawing on the front actually as well. So this is a book that has recently been published, Art, Poetry, Folklore and Druids. We're going to find out a bit more about that, and I can guarantee you're going to learn something that you didn't know about the Lake District or Lakeland. This one, oh, there's another copy there. Is that a different book? Is that the same book?
This is the newest one, which is
Okay.
Boggart Brownie's Hobbes and their Goblin Kin, an
Okay.
encyclopedia of world folklore. 200 goblin characters from world folklore.
What's not to like about that? What's not to like about that? So we'll find out about that as well. Hello, Simon, by the way, who's just joined us. Simon, I was just talking about the film that you made, that Jonathan introduced me to. Oh, there he is. Hi, Simon. In Ulverston, is that right? Yeah, okay. I've just started the call, Simon, so you're very welcome. Just a reminder, this call is about championing great stuff going on in the county, about exploring issues, finding out about people that are doing interesting things. And if we get a chance to get together and advocate on the behalf of the sector, we do. We had a big meet in Barrow just a couple of weeks ago. We'll be doing another one in January, somewhere probably in the north of the county. We've done about 15 of those over the last 5 years, and that's a face-to-face opportunity as well, which is really nice to do too. But generally speaking, as a rule, every week on a Friday morning, 9:30 to 10:30, we look at great stuff that's going on in Cumbria and find out from people what they're doing and why they're doing it and how they're doing it as well. So without further ado, we're going to meet Sarah McGlynn. If you don't know Sarah, she, as I said, was the exhibitions manager at Tullie in Carlisle, and is very much one of the people, if not the person, in charge of this beautiful new exhibition called Colour, which I'm just going to show you the flyer of from that I picked up in Tullie just the other day, where I was having a very fine flat white in that lovely refurbished cafe at Tullie. It's got lovely sort of racing green colours all around it. It's really quite a classy joint now. It was very busy when I was there, and it's been busy actually the 3 times I've been there. It's been busy. So I commend the cafe at Tullie to you. So Sarah, hello, nice to have you with us.
Hi,
First of all, why are you in Cheltenham? What are you doing down there?
So actually, I'm here because it's sort of related to Colour. Colour has been co-curated by 5 museum partners, and we're part of a wider 12-piece collaborative group called the Magnet Touring Exhibitions Group. So it's Museums and Galleries Network for Touring Exhibitions. And we meet quarterly to talk about the future of the project and what we might be working on going forwards. So we have Magnet 1.0 was the hair exhibition, which some people remember at Tullie in 2022. Colour is Magnet 2.0. And it also sits alongside an exhibition called Gender, which is currently in Bristol that we saw yesterday, and another one called Human Natures, which is in Derby, that's just opened last weekend. So we all met to kind of feedback on the exhibitions that we had been working on and to brainstorm some ideas for Magnet 3.0, which will come up in the next few years. So very exciting. So whilst I'm in the Southwest, I also am doing a research trip to another museum in Cheltenham, looking at their arts and crafts collection.
Very nice. I love a bit of arts and crafts. I can't have enough arts and crafts.
Well, so do I. And anyone who's seen our beautiful leaflet that we've just produced, I'm sorry, my background's blurred, but we'll see that we are working on an arts and crafts exhibition for October 2026.
Oh, excellent. Okay, well, I'll be there.
Yeah, well, I hope
sure.
you all will, and your friends.
Right, tell us about colour then. A season of shades, tints and tones. And this runs through to the end of January, which obviously takes us right into the heart of the Cumbrian winter. So tell us a bit about this, Sarah, what it's about and why you're doing it.
So colour's brilliant. So I've already kind of elaborated a little bit about the Magnet partnership. And within that partnership, 5 museums have been working on the colour exhibition. We've been working on it for about 2 to 3 years. So that's Sheffield Museums, Tullie, Bristol Museums, Hampshire Cultural Trust, and Exeter, the Royal Albert Memorial Museum. And what we did was we met a couple of years ago in Bristol. We had a really good session where we kind of talked a lot about colour, what it might mean, how massive the subject was, and how to sort of focus it down. And we came up with 4 key themes. So we've kind of looked at what is colour, how is colour made, is colour useful, and what does colour mean? And then within those, we were kind of breaking this down, and people were saying, I've got X or Y in my collection in the natural sciences section, or I've got this in my decorative arts section. Oh, we could really do with one of those. Has anybody got one of those? And between us, we managed to, over a two-year period, we managed to kind of hone this down, and our different curators from different subjects all put their works in, and we've produced this amazing exhibition in these 4 sections.
So I'm looking at the blurb here on my flyer, and it says expect works also from Wassily, Kandinsky, Andy Warhol, and Hokusai. So tell us a bit about those, Sarah.
So those are lovely. So the Kandinsky actually has been reproduced on that little leaflet that you were holding up. And that sits alongside the Warhol in the section about is colour, what does colour mean? And it's all about sort of how colour has different resonances for different people and different cultures. So you've got this amazing, you've got the Marilyn Monroe, there's a lot of yellow, there's a lot of turquoise, and that sits with this amazing 3D piece that we've got from our collection called Cyan Bloom by Michael Eden. And then we've got a Howard Hodgkin next to it, Kandinsky under it. So we've got some really, really big names in this exhibition. Hokusai sits in the section about how is colour made, because he was famous for his use of Prussian blue, and that's used all the way through his work. So we've got Hokusai, but we've also got works by Sikat, Suro, Lucien Pizarro, and Bridget Riley. So it's fantastic. So that picture that's now up on the screen, we see the really iconic Marilyn Monroe. That's the Howard Hodgkin up on the top right. You can just see the edge of a little rainbow frame to the right of that man who's on the right hand side of the group, and that's the Babe Rainbow by Peter Blake. A lot of people recognize that really iconic 60s image of the girl in her sort of bikini. But on the left, where somebody's taking a photo, this is a huge quilt made by the textile artist Kay Fassett, who has a huge following. He's sort of iconic, and as soon as you mention his name, people go absolutely crazy for him. And he generously has lent us a quilt and 4 of his colour studies as well. And he did a talk at Tullie in the autumn that was really, really popular. And he's coming up in January to do another talk with us, which will be brilliant. And I believe that the tickets went on sale yesterday, so you can get those. You can also see in the right, in that gilt frame, there's a piece by Delacroix. So there are some really, anybody who knows their sort of art history will be really delighted to see these. And anyone who doesn't know their art history will come and discover what these beautiful paintings are all about. This is the entrance, so it's fabulous. You come in, and although the exhibition is sort of, you might expect to come into a riot of colour, you actually come into this very, very beautiful white section. We've got white pieces from our collection. So we've got the snowy owl, the egret, the minerals and shells, and a little white mouse. And they're all completely changed by this mirror ball that hangs from the ceiling. And so there's just this beautiful, very sort of transcendental entrance when you come in. But then you can see, when you look left, you see the pink section. That stripy piece is the Bridget Riley. There's an amazing film projection just that you can see peeping out on the left as well. That's a soda stream. It's called Soda Stream, and it's basically soda stream bottle dropping. You see it's got different, one's got cherryade, one's got lemonade, so each drop brings a different color. So that's very, very beautiful.
How do you get hold? I've always wondered this. So for an exhibition like this, Sarah, where you've got to take two examples, that Andy Warhol and that Howard Hodgkin. So how have you got hold of that Howard Hodgkin? Where's that come from?
That is a loan from Bristol Museums. So they're one of our partners. So they agreed that that Hodgkin would be a good addition to the exhibition, and that's why that piece has gone in. The Warhol is a loan from Sheffield, so they're the lead partner on the exhibition. So this is the great thing, is basically Magnet and these exhibitions are bringing nationally owned paintings, which are held in regional museums, regional collections, bringing them all to a different area where they're not normally seen. So our audience is able to see things which might be a bit too far away for them to see on a normal basis. And the other thing is, I was going to say, because it's touring as well, those who've seen it can tell their family and friends in the other areas where it's going to. Yeah,
I mean, this makes complete sense to me. It's a bit like Theatre by the Lake. I know Rachel's on the call. It's doing a lot more co-productions than it used to, because the work is going into making the art happen. And so let's make sure that as many people can enjoy. I'm sure there's economies of scale, blah, blah, blah as well. But actually, just getting it to a bigger audience has got to be a good thing, hasn't it?
Exactly. And also shared resources. So we could not have we probably could have done, but it would have been a very different experience putting this on our own. Whereas working collaboratively with our partners, it just was quite a smooth process.
Yeah. And is there kind of workshops as well as talks? Are you getting children to kind of get excited by colour and all that sort of thing?
Yeah, it's really, really interactive, this exhibition. So when I said that each partner put in works from their collection, Tullie's speciality was actually leading on the learning and the engagement and the family interactives. So there's loads to play with. There are prisms and kaleidoscopes. There are jumping pads where you jump on and the colour changes. There's something all the way around. There are things for young people and children to do. It's very STEM based. We've also got this amazing mural which we had painted by a young artist called Dylan Osborne, and this is our sort of Instagram backdrop. So this is where the young people come and take their photos and just have great fun in front of it. And you can also see this is part of the Chinese dragon that we borrowed from Durham Oriental Museum.
Fantastic. I'd love to see all these vans arriving with all these pieces of art unloading inside there.
It's so exciting when you unpack it. It's just fantastic.
And as a senior member of the management team at Tullie, as I'm sure you are, Sarah, how is the refurb, the reopening, how's that going?
Oh, really well, actually. We're delighted. We didn't quite know what to expect. We didn't know whether it'd be very quiet because we'd been closed for quite a long time, and whether people would realise that we had reopened. And as you know, we did do a sort of a staggered reopening, but it's just great. And the feedback is fantastic. People love the new entrance. They love that sort of wide open, fresh space. As you've already mentioned, the cafe is a huge success. So that's run by our in-house catering team, who are just fantastic. They just launched their new menu last weekend. We've got our beautiful new shop, which actually so it's got a load of stuff to do with the colour exhibition, but we've had a beautiful range designed especially for this exhibition, talking about the colours of Carlisle. So we've got this beautiful, it's working with the colour palette company, and so we've got bags, and they've got wyvern red, it's got the Cumbrian sandstone, it's got the blue from the Carlisle United. It's just, yeah, very beautiful. And we're just loving seeing new audiences, a lot of people who hadn't been in before, but also a lot of people who hadn't been for years and sometimes decades.
Great. Well, congratulations.
Tom, can
I
I
know
just
there's
quickly say that
Yep.
Theatre by the Lake was really proud to be nominated alongside Tullie House for the Cumbria Life Awards, and I genuinely, I thought we were going to lose, but we were really proud. But we actually did a collaboration on social media with Tullie House because they
Yeah.
screened The Wizard of Oz. It was one. Am I right, Sarah? It was one of the first like colour, not there was something specific about the colour that was
Yeah,
used
I
for The
think
Wizard
so.
of Oz, wasn't it? Yeah.
First Technicolor or something
That's
like
right,
that.
that's right.
Yes,
Yeah, first Technicolor, yes. And obviously it's our Christmas production. So we did do a little shout out for your filming on the weekend, which I was really sad to miss, actually. I didn't get wind of it until too late. I saw it was featured in Curated Cumbria. Yeah, so that was how I got wind of it. But I'd have come out if I'd had a little bit of a bit of notice, because it would be a good one to see on the screen.
Oh, well, thank you very much, and congratulations on your award. That was really brilliant. And actually, I had just been to Pride and Prejudice, which was so good,
Okay,
and
brilliant.
I'd recommended to friends.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I did a 2-hour drive home after that. You know, it was worth it. You know, it was so good. It was brilliant. So yeah,
but
hopefully.
congratulations, because I think what's going on at Tullie House at the moment is fabulous, and it's just absolutely brilliant. So it's really exciting.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you so much.
We're loving the love. We're loving the love.
Yeah, it's really good.
All right, that's great. Well, congratulations, Sarah, on another great looking exhibition. I really enjoyed the dinosaurs, I have to say, when I went there
They were great
a few
fun.
weeks ago. And,
But,
and so those are big, literally big and metaphorical footsteps to follow with a new exhibition. But this colour one looks great. And who doesn't like a bit of colour as the days get a bit shorter and a bit darker? So
yeah, so
thank you for sharing that
do
with
all
us.
come. Yeah, that would be lovely.
All right, great stuff. Do you have to get? Is it you basically get an annual pass or a day ticket, don't you? And children, I think, are free.
Children are free, yes. Yeah.
Okay, so encouraging
and
young people.
if you've bought a day pass and then you think, I love it and I want to come back, you can just upgrade really easily. And we're 10 till 4 every day, apart from Sundays, where we are 11 to 4. And the first hour on a Sunday has reduced numbers so that we can do a relaxed opening.
Okay.
It's a little bit quieter.
Great. All right. Well, let's go from the visuals. Thanks, Sarah. Let's go from the visuals and the colour of colour. We've been joined by the lovely Sue Nichols of Flutes & Co. Hello, Sue. Very nice to have you with us. And we've got your slides ready to go. Where are you this morning, Sue?
I'm actually at Rook Howe, my other place of work, which is near Grisdale. It's a historic Quaker meeting house. So we're actually hosting a mental health conference today with about 50 people. It's very busy.
Right.
Yeah, another lovely place for concerts and gigs as well. We've started putting on gigs here.
For sure. Well, we'll get your slides up, Sue, because I know time is slightly tight, and you can walk us through how and what Flutes & Co is. But while Chris gets those up, just tell us a bit about yourself, Sue. Tell us a bit about how flutes fit into your life.
So I live in Kendal. I've lived there for about 20 years, and I studied music. I started flute at about the age of 12, and I was just obsessed with it. Did a music degree. I've always played the flute. I've done that alongside community development and youth work as well. I play in the Westmoreland Orchestra. I play in a wind quintet, and my thing here is that I'm the musical director of Flutes & Co. So yeah, perfect. You're there.
So Chris will push the slides on for you. Just ask Chris to move on the slide when you finish with it, and the floor is yours.
Great, thank you. So I've been musical director for about 10 years now. The group's been running for 25 years, and it was started by Suzanne Delosey. And it brings together flute players from across Cumbria and North Lancashire. And the aim is really, I think, often if you play, I think after James Galway, there was a big surge in flute players, and they realised that actually orchestras only had 2 or 3 flute players. So, but flute players still wanted to have experiences of playing in ensembles. So lots of little what we call flute choirs were set up. Ours, I think we'd call it a flute orchestra because it is really quite large. And I think there's about maybe 70 flute choirs in the whole of the UK. And Flutes & Co is actually one of the largest. Yeah, good point. Here we go. Next slide. We have 40 members and we have people from all ages and all abilities. So our main flute orchestra is from grade 3 upwards. And right the way through to there's a few flute teachers, music teachers in it as well. So it's a real mixture, very generous group with lots of the experienced musicians helping the less experienced musicians. And it really gives a chance for people to have that experience of playing together. The sort of
I'm just
music
going to
we
jump
play
in,
is
Sue.
very...
I'm just going to jump in. Is
Yeah.
that... I can't see a man in that photo. Is it a women-only choir or orchestra?
No, there are. I think, do you know, I was thinking, I think we've got four men, well, 3 men and an under 18 male as well. But yeah, that shot is all women. Yeah, flute players, yeah, not on the whole are women, but it is maybe a higher percentage.
Yeah, and you've got different
Yeah.
size flutes going on there, I can see.
Yes, so if you go into the next slide, please. We have, we actually own some of our own large flutes. So the large one, which looks a bit like a triangular drain pipe, is a contrabass flute. And that's one of our young players playing it. So we also have, I think, 4 bass flutes. So the other person there is playing a bass flute, which is an octave lower. The contrabass flute is 2 octaves lower. And we have, I think, 4 alto flutes as well and some piccolos. So Flutes & Co owns them, and then we let all of the players, we're insured for them to take them home, practice them at home. We move around so people have different chances to play the instruments as well. And as I said, the music we play is really varied. So we do some classical arrangements. We do arrangements of film music. We do some contemporary compositions, which use some extended techniques, like kind of, doing a bit of beatboxing into the flute. We also, some of our members do some arrangements. So one of our teenagers has arranged a medley from the Guardians of the Galaxy. So the other day he was helping run that, and we were all saying ooga chaka, so along with people playing. Yeah, so it's a real mixture of music. It's a very inclusive group, democratic group. The players get a choice of what they want to play, and then we try and find a very varied program. And we put on 2 concerts a year, one in the summer and one at Christmas. And we try and move around Cumbria and North Lancashire. So we've just done a concert in Arnside, and the next concert is going to be in Kirby Lonsdale. Next slide, please. We also run an Inspire programme for players of less than grade 3, so sort of beginner to grade 3. And so they might meet, so we meet twice a month in Kendal. They might meet once a month before a concert. So, and they would play, maybe out of a programme of 12 pieces, they might play 4, and we'll arrange some of the pieces so that they're much easier. So they'll get a sense of this amazing sound around them, but they'll be playing a much more simple line, but picking out the tunes so it's quite enjoyable as well. And that's been really good. To be honest, our main challenge at the moment is getting more younger players. We have a lot of adults who join, who maybe played the flute as children, the young people, took a break and now want to start it again. But we're finding that because of the state of music in schools and the shortage of flute teachers and other instrumental teachers, there's a real shortage of people coming through. And also I think with the stress of young people with school and having, you know, once they get to GCSEs or whatever, they're expected to work so much, it's hard for extracurricular things. So that's our main challenge. Next slide, please. So as well as the formal concert, we also do some outdoor plays every summer and at Christmas as well. So this summer we played at Whole Herd Garden Centre, and we played at the Windermere Jetty Museum and also at the Grange Bandstand. So that's just good fun for maybe a smaller group of whoever can make it, to share our music and play outside. Next slide, please. And at Christmas, we also play in Rydal Cave. We do that every Saturday before Christmas. And we've started meeting with Growing Singing, which is a singing group in Kendal. And we usually have about 15 flute players, and they would come along with a choir as well, and we'll all sing and play together, which is really lovely, and the players all love that. And we've played in Cathedral Cave as well, which has got a fabulous acoustic. Next slide, please. So we also meet up with other flute choirs. We're part of a national network, the British Flute Society. Last year we went to a big flute choir festival, a national flute choir festival, where there was 170 flute players, and we performed at that. We also had smaller workshops on low flutes and on piccolo playing. And then we have a connection with another flute orchestra called Flutes Unlimited, who are in Glasgow. And this is a picture of us with Flutes Unlimited. And every year in October, we have a joint concert with them. So last year they came to Kendal. We did a lovely concert in St Thomas's Church, and that was really good. We had a sort of afternoons workshop and going through lots of music that we all played together, and then an evening's concert that they played some of their pieces. We all played together. We had some smaller joint ensembles as well. And tomorrow we are taking 20 of Flutes and Co's members up to Glasgow to have a workshop and rehearsal and concert with Flutes Unlimited. So that's really exciting. That's happening tomorrow. So it might be quite nice to have any questions, if anyone's got any questions or knows any flute players who would like to
I'm going to read out a few comments that have come in while you've been talking, Sue, because it's really interesting to see people's stories about flute. So Kate, tell us how you went from flute to bassoon.
There were dozens of flute players when I was at school, and I'm sure it was the James Galway effect in the 1970s. I'm sure it was. Because there were dozens of us, and because I wasn't particularly, I don't think I was particularly special or gifted. One day the music teacher got a bassoon out of the cupboard and said, "Who wants to have a go at this?" And I thought, "Oh, I'll do that." That's when I was 12. So I did, and I still do it. I still play it often.
Oh, lovely. We actually had a bassoon player playing with us last Sunday. We had 2 visitors from the Lviv Philharmonic Orchestra who are over doing some workshops and some concerts here. So we invited them along to Flutes and Co. Their principal flautist played with us, and their bassoon player did as well. We also actually have we have a double bass player who plays with us to help ground the sound. And a young harpist as well. So that kind of varies the repertoire that we can
That's
do.
a beautiful combination of flute and harp.
I lived in Lviv for a year teaching English many years ago.
Wow.
So that's very exciting to know that they've been
great. Yeah,
across.
no, it's wonderful. They're coming back in February, but we had a great time with them. They were really lovely.
Right.
Yeah.
Lovely to make that connection with Ukraine at the moment. Derek says, my granddaughter used to plays the flute, in 2 orchestras, but in Cardiff. She would love this. Virginia says, not online, alas, but Benedict Mason convened 100 flutes in Cambridge in about 1971.
1871,
not 1871. Walking in patterns on the big lawn, playing Shaw phrases. Still have the script somewhere. It was a music of spheres kind of thing. And Zoe says, I used to play the flute at school. It's bringing back memories of cleaning it each week and the feel of the metal on the lower lip.
Yeah.
You get the feeling of the metal on the lower lip too?
I certainly do. It's a lovely, lovely instrument to play. It really sings. It's lovely.
Because
Yeah,
what we're
it's
lacking, of course, is the sound of this orchestra playing. So I would encourage people to. I'm assuming there's clips on the website or on YouTube,
yeah.
Sue.
So we've got a YouTube channel, and on I think our website would have links to that, and our Facebook page has actually got a clip of the
Great.
two Lviv players playing with us
Okay.
this week as well. So that's
Great.
worth
So
checking out.
people can check that out.
Yeah.
And what drives you, Sue? I'm assuming if you get paid anything for doing this, it's not very much money. What makes you do this?
I do get paid, which is really lovely. But I think the community, it's a massive community. It's had such a positive effect on people's mental health. And there's been lovely, lovely friendships formed in the group. And seeing people's confidence, seeing the young people's confidence, but also adults who are quite kind of have performance anxiety. And who are like, oh God, I can't do it. And then I really, really try and create a very warm and generous and relaxed atmosphere so that people feel that they can kind of let go a bit, and they get so much out of playing together and performing. It's just really lovely. It's a wonderful group. We have a really good committee of about 10 people who help organize things in the background, and they're great as well. It's a really, really good organization. I love it.
Well, I learned about you from a mutual friend on this call about 2 months ago. So I love sort of bumping into things culturally in Cumbria through this call and through CACN. So thank you very much for coming on this morning. And
Great.
Are you going to Glasgow tomorrow?
I am, absolutely. Yeah,
So
I'm
it's
really
a bus
looking
load. Is it a
forward
bus
to it.
load or are you going on a train?
No, we're all sharing cars, but I'm taking a
Okay.
contrabass flute. So yeah, we
So
got
you've got
quite
a
a lot
trailer.
to get in.
You've got a big trailer
something
behind
like
your
that.
car. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have a great trip. And
Great. Thank you very much, everyone.
I sh-
Lovely to meet you.
I shall be looking out for an opportunity to watch you all and listen to you all.
That would
So
be
that's
great.
But Sue,
Thank
before you
you.
go, so this is
Yes.
for everybody now. We're just going to do a quick, dirty survey about how old everybody is on this call. As I mentioned right at the start of this call, we're just trying to do over a few Fridays, just trying to gauge the age of the audience of this call, so that we can see whether we can get one or two new faces onto it and just nudge it down over the next year or two as we do the See It to Be It project, which is all about supporting young people in Cumbria to realize their creative dreams. So please just fill in that little survey that Chris has put up there. It's on my screen. It's a dynamic survey that's evolving and changing as people are putting their answers in. I don't know whether that's the same for you. It's because I've got rights because I'm a host. But it's very exciting to watch. There's no under 20s so far on my survey. In fact, there's no 20 to 30s on my survey. So we'll see whether that evolves. But if everyone could
just like to argue with the 45 to 65 category. I feel like that should be 2 categories.
Chris, any thoughts?
Definitely.
Argue away. Yeah.
I'm going to get going now. Thank
All right,
you.
Sue, good to see you.
Cheerio.
Thanks ever so
Bye.
much. Cheers.
Bye.
Might we revisit that so that the director is happy?
I quite liked that, Kate. I liked being lumped in with the 45-year-olds. I'm taking it.
And Derek's complaining there's not an over 80 category as well.
Okay.
We lose interest after 65.
It's brilliant.
All right. So anyway, we've captured that. Have we got that, Chris?
Probably.
Okay, so we've captured that.
94% have participated. So
all right. Okay. So that's most people. So Jonathan, is this survey and the urge to adjust the demographic something to do with the euthanasia bill? That's a very interesting question.
No.
We'll come back to that in due course. Thank you for that provocation, Jonathan. Right. Okay. So we'll just keep that and we'll do that again. We'll track it over the next few weeks and see where we get to. Right. Just before we hear from Stephen and his beautiful book, Folklore of the Lake District, I just want to share with you the news that I've done another little podcast episode, and it's about a thing called the Barrow Music Weekender, which is an amazing event taking place next weekend in Barrow. Here's the flyer for it. Those of you that were at the big meet in Barrow a couple of weeks ago would have seen a flyer about it and me talking about it. And I did lots of recording. I just wanted to play you a tiny excerpt of my podcast because it's when I just thinking back to I think it was Sarah talking about young people and how you inspire them. And also Sue was talking about how they want to get more young flautists to come to Flutes & Co. I'm just going to share my screen with you very briefly. And I'm just going to get the right page up so that I can do this in as slick a way as I possibly can. There we go. This is just in case you didn't know, this is where the podcast sits for CACN. It sits on our website. You can get it through Spotify and through Apple Music as well. And hopefully my screen is scrolling for you. And you can see there's lots of episodes here of different things that I've covered over the past 2 or 3 years. People that you'll recognise, places that you'll recognise. There's the lovely John Fox, who sadly is no longer with us. There's Chris Dennett and Jenny Dennett, who did a fantastic exhibition at Signal in Barrow. Anyway, my most recent episode is this one here, and it's about the Barrow Music Weekend. And again, hopefully my screen is changing for you. Chris, just nod if it is so that I can confirm that. So here are pictures of some of the people that I spoke to, full of noises. There's Debs at Can Do FM. There's John Rennie, who's a filmmaker. And here's Deborah and Leslie, the amazing Leslie Harris. They're the 2 guys from Bums. So we're going to hear from Bums, Barrow Underground Music Society. I'm going to just play you a short clip of the lady at Bums talking about why music matters. And then we're going to hear from a few kids from St. George's School, primary school, talking about why. So I went to a lesson of theirs. They were all learning the keyboard. It was fantastic. And they told me why they enjoyed playing the keyboard. So first of all, a bit from Bums, and then we'll hear from the kids. So hopefully this will work.
Music is people's medicine, isn't it? And it's what keeps people going and brings people together. It creates you this whole different family from, your love for the same thing. So yeah, it's definitely essential to keep music alive in this town.
Now, it's not just big people that enjoy the music scene here in Barrow. I've just wandered down a few streets to St. George's C.F.E. Primary School, where I've been led to believe some magic might be happening right now. What's your name?
Ollie.
And what did you play then?
Morning Mood.
Why do you like playing the piano?
Because it's just fun and calming.
Who else wants to tell me why they like music?
My name's Noah.
And why do you like playing the piano?
I like playing keyboards because when I'm in a bad mood it calms me down and it makes me feel better. My name is Hope.
And why do you like playing the keyboard?
It's generally just fun.
1, 2, 3.
So that was Class 6 playing some beautiful tunes for your delectation.
Hi, I'm Steve Herbert. I'm the head teacher at St George's Church of England Primary in Barrow.
Right, I'll just pause it there and stop sharing. So I think I've got about 15 or 16 voices into half an hour of podcast there. So if you fancy listening to why the Barrow Music Weekender is taking place and why it matters and all the amazing things that actually are taking place in Barrow at the moment as far as music is concerned, have a listen to the podcast, which someone might kindly put a link to in chat if they're able to. Perhaps Kate, you might like to do that. Thank you ever so much. Right, well, let's move on. We've got it's 12 minutes past 10. We're going to hear now about the folklore of the Lake District, which is a beautiful book that has come out. Has come out with Stephen Ray. There he is, sitting there quietly in Ulverston with a big board behind your shoulder, which is semi-professional, Stephen, as a promotional piece of material. Tell us a bit about yourself and tell us a bit about this book.
I'm originally from Ayrshire, you might tell by the accent, and I studied fine art at Cumbria Institute of the Arts in the early 2000s and gradually migrated down to Ulverston, and I've been here ever since. So I've lived in Ulverston for about 20 years. I've got a gardening business that pays the bills, and but I also write and I make films and I'm an artist and I write poetry and blah blah blah. So that's
you're a druid, aren't you, as well?
Yeah, I follow Druidry. Well, yes, I've had quite a kind of strange life in that respect. So brought up Church of Scotland, then studied Buddhism, then studied Sufism, then ordained as a Buddhist monk for a few years because I was really fascinated by like Buddhist philosophy. And then I decided, no, I just want to go back to Druidry. Well, modern Druidry, because we don't know anything about the ancient Druids, because of course nothing was written down, and there's just a few excerpts written by Pliny and Julius Caesar, which, you know, so my form of Druidism is something a bit more like ancestral shamanism. So it's just being in nature and being at one with the flora and fauna and all the otherworldly beings that inhabit this world. So
Sounds great. Sounds really interesting. I'm looking at the back of the book. Bite-sized tales of elves and giants, fairies and goblins, of dragons, King Arthur and Merlin the magician, witches and wizards, gods, goddesses and sinners, poetry, song and dance, from mighty trees to hairy fish. So just tell us a bit about how you've gone about collecting all these, Stephen, and kind of why you did it.
Well, I've got a very she only did one edition. I've got a book by Marjorie Rowling, her Folklore of the Lake District, that was published 50 years ago. And I've had it almost since the day it was published. I think it was a present from family. So I've always had Marjorie Rowling. She's sort of, as I've travelled the world and moved around a lot, Marjorie's always come with me. So in about 2017, just by chance, I met this chap called Paul Rigg, who's a retired dentist from Barrow. And he'd been doing a bit of work with Signal Films. And Paul and I decided we wanted to make films together with quite a shared interest in sort of Monty Python, The Goodies, that type of sort of slapstick humour. But we eventually made a couple of films, one called The Last King of Cumbria about Dunmail, and another one about Sonuros, the horned god, who rides around Cumbria on a bicycle. And so as our filmmaking sort of developed, we were getting more interested in the folklore side. So I started a little film project called Land of Lore Films, and it's my favourite Cumbrian folklore folk tales made into short films of 1 minute and less. So I started doing that. Then this group of folklorists started this Folklore Thursday community on Twitter. So it was just a sort of opportunity to share folk tales that I'd been reading about from Marjorie for like 50 years, and then folk tales from family, because my grandfather was a great source of folk tales, and my grandmother from her family in Ireland. So it was just sort of something that sort of developed over time. 2020, I got asked to start writing in Cumbrian folklore for Cumbria magazine, and really by about 50 articles in, I thought, you know what, I think I should write my own. I should actually write a book on Cumbrian rather than churning out article after article for Cumbria magazine, which I still do. I think I've done maybe in about 70 articles now. But yes, I thought, you know, this might actually make quite a good book. And quite a good book. That's obviously my take on it. You know, I thought it'd be worth putting it all together into a book, and all the subject matters that I like, and having kind of back and forward with a group of publishers, I decided then to self-publish, and that's when I set up the Folklore Press, which is sort of my baby. So
okay, we're just seeing it on the screen at the moment. And Stephen, you know, is this part of the world kind of a rich seam of folklore? I mean, is there folklore all over the place, or is it particularly strong in the Lake District in Cumbria?
I think folklore's everywhere, but we'll be very fortunate that we've had Marjorie Rowling, of course, her book, Jessica Lofthouse. There's actually some really excellent books on kind of Cumbria and Lancashire folklore that have been written over the past even 100 years. So there's a wealth of material to sort of extrapolate from. So
where do you find it from? Where do you find it from?
I've got bookshelves groaning. I think about every book that's ever been written about Cumbria and Lancashire is adorning my shelves.
So it's kind of from other books that you pull it all together, and then
yeah. Well, yeah, because I can't really. It's not a folk tale. It's not something I could like make up per se. So it's actually tales that have been, that have been around for, 100+ years.
And when you say have been around for 100+ years, are these are oral stories that have been told? Are they written down? Is it a mix of all those things? How does this stuff get recorded and then celebrated and brought together by you? Where does it emerge from?
Well, traditionally there would be oral stories, and then they would be written down by various people. The term folklore is actually quite a modern invention. That like it was. I think it hasn't actually been used, the word folklore, before then. It was sort of folk tales per se. Yeah, sorry, I've lost my line of thread slightly.
I'm interested to know whether.
So there's just loads of book on folklore and folk tales that have been written in Cumbria and Lancashire and that over the years. And then just talking to people, I'm very fortunate that I've had some really interesting people that have sort of that have wanted to talk to me about folklore and nature lore and dialect and that type of thing. So it's just really, it's books really. Although obviously that there has been a bit of collaboration with other people with regards, especially when I've got quite a large section in nature lore and dialect and that type of thing. So.
And can you give us a sort of flavour of some of the stories in the book?
No. Sorry. Here we go. There are two kinds of dragon that appear in the folklore of Cumbria. A dragon with wings and legs that sleeps guarding treasure. The other dragon is what's often referred to as a worm. A dragon with no wings or legs, lurks in marshland and water, and devours livestock and maidens. That's all. Yeah, that's it. Do you want some more?
If you've got one more, yeah. And I'm going to ask Sue a little bit about popular antiquarianism, which is quite a long word to say on a Friday morning. Yeah, give us one more, Stephen.
Well, actually, at the start of each chapter, I've tried to go into, rather than just talking about maybe vampires and devils and ghosts and fairies, I always at the start of each chapter like to give a sort of historical background to where actually the legend might have developed. So this is about vampires. We have a rich tradition of vampire lore. Most of us will know the story of Count Dracula, created by Bram Stoker in 1879. But Dracula wasn't the first vampire in English literature. John Stagg, the blind bard of Cumberland, is perhaps best remembered for his 1810 poem The Vampire, which is considered the first poem whose main character was a vampire. So that a bit about vampires. There's an interesting Professor Ronald Hutton, who's quite a well-known folklorist and druid. He proposed that the witch trials of Croatia may form the foundation of vampire legend. Witches confessed to eating human hearts and in the form of cats sucked human blood. So yes, so at the start of each chapter, I like to give a sort of historical kind of perspective about where these stories have come from, and then when I talk about about fairies and elves, we're all used to fairies, but actually the word fairy is quite a kind of modern term. So it's explaining to the reader that if I can find just find it here. Yes. So all beings were once only elves. The word fairy was originally a reference to the uncanny, a phenomenon beyond the ordinary, and its use as a reference to an actual being from folklore didn't appear until the 15th century. The word fairy with a Y is of French origin, arriving in our folktales around the same time. So it basically says that actually that a lot of these tales, the characters were probably elves, but over time, sort of elves have been sort of forgotten in folklore to be replaced by fairies. So, Yeah. So just to say, actually, so at the start, I apologise to the reader, say, sorry, fairies don't exist. So they're elves. They're elves, you know.
So-
elves. We need to sort of kind of. My next book is actually elves and fairies and folklore, fantasy and fiction, and explaining actually that we need to go back talking about elves because fairies are sort of effectively a French import.
Okay, didn't know that. So this is kind of your world to some extent, isn't it, as well? You're obviously with folklore and folk music and stories about Cumbria.
And I've been in touch with Stephen about various things, haven't we? Yeah. I'm glad you referenced Professor Ronald Hutton. Hero of mine is just brilliant. What did you want to know? Oh, popular antiquarianism. Well, it's part of the Romantic project, really. Bishop Percy brought ballads which inspired Wordsworth. People suddenly wanted to collect archaeological finds. Rich people would have Roman altars in their gardens, but also people started looking at the folklore and the customs and, writing in the newspapers about them. And as Stephen says, it wasn't called folklore then, it would have been called antiquarianism. And I'm now mining a lot of those sources, looking for sword dance and customs at the moment, midwinter customs. And dialect, the flowering of particularly Cumbrian dialect literature, publishing of literature, is part of that project, I think. And it all gets subsumed in Cumbria by the blooming lake poets, and I'm on a mission that vernacular culture and vernacular poets, all of this should be included as part of Romanticism. It's not just Wordsworth and Southey.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wordsworth interested was quite anti-Druids, so I just sort of I do reference him because he's important, but he didn't like the Druids.
Is there a market for this kind of stuff, Stephen?
We couldn't have had a pint of beer in the local pub.
Is there a market for this kind of stuff in your sort of book, Stephen? There clearly is, otherwise you wouldn't be doing it, I guess.
Yes, yeah. Well, yeah, gosh, there's loads of titles. Yes, there's loads of titles in folklore. It is a thing, folklore, the uncanny, the paranormal, all these dreadful shows on the television about people getting into buildings looking for ghosts. There's a huge, there's quite a kind of massive audience for it. Yes.
Well, you've got one in Zoe who's put in comments there. One of our shows, Fairy Snuff, I wrote in collaboration with 9 fellow students 20 years ago at Cumbria Institute of the Arts, focuses on imagined fairies and goblins. We're currently reconnecting with those who want to come back on board 2 decades on and working on a rewrite. We're hoping to remount the family show alongside a series of educational workshops. I will definitely be investing in the book, Stephen. Zoe, you're spinning so many plates. It's amazing. So that looks good.
Spinning too many plates, yes.
But that looks like a particularly interesting plate, I have to say. And Derek,
I was at Cumbria Institute of the Arts 20 years ago as well. Interesting. Wow. I think roundabout.
Beautiful connection being made. Derek, 3 disparate and fascinating presentations this morning. Really interesting and inspiring. Many thanks to each contributor. Jonathan asks, do pilgrimages come into folklore? Is that part of folklore? Pilgrimages?
Only if the pilgrim had been sort of, there's the story of the wild boar, the Cumbrian wild boar that sort of used to attack pilgrims. So only if the pilgrim was attacked by a wild boar or perhaps eaten by a wolf.
Yeah. And Pete mentions the Eden Arts Winter Droving in Penrith on October the 25th, so in about 3 weeks' time. Collection of evidence of fairies through the ages from fossils to early film. That's always quite a spectacle. Let's hope it's a nice evening for them at that. So Sue's saying folk horror is a big thing at the moment in literature, film, television, etc. And Kerry's just put the word thin in comments. I'm not quite sure why, but it's she may come back and Kerry, why have you put the word thin in comments? Was that the start of something else? Thin places? Thinking cleverly? Thinking absurdly? Who knows?
About that, I haven't got my right glasses on and I must have just pressed send. But I was just going to say, it's such a fascinating area and I just think it really lends itself to school workshops. That idea, that kind of real imagination would just be, I could just see a really great kind of primary school workshop kind of coming out of that idea of fairies and pixies and kind of folklore, as particularly Cumbrian folklore. It'd be great for our Cumbrian schools.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. Sorry.
No, it's quite all right.
The book is child friendly.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to get a copy of it. Definitely, it looks great.
The boggart one, the boggart and the goblin one, does have quite a few scary stories that are maybe
great.
Even better.
And we love scary stories, but my son's into Warhammer and Lord of the Rings, and it's it's all, it kind of all feeds into that fascination of that area, and I just think I think that's great. I love it.
All right. Okay, thank you for that.
Well,
Stephen, thank you so much for sharing that with us this morning. Available in all good bookshops, obviously.
Yes, actually, it's been very good. Most Cumbrian bookshops have been are supporting me, so I think I'm available in most Cumbrian bookshops now. So that's great.
Good to hear. Thank you to Sarah, who I know had to slip away, and Sue as well, and to Stephen this morning, and to everybody's contributions. Really good to see you all. Next week, I will be in Barrow next week, trying to find some Wi-Fi to host this call somewhere, because I'll be at the Barrow Music Weekend. I'm hosting a session for them in the afternoon, a kind of discussion about the health of the music industry in Barrow. So I'm looking forward to that. And then we're going to hear about the Ragtag Carnival, those great Ragtag Arts, those great people based in Kendal, Josh, what they're doing at the moment, and a new project they've got about supporting carnivals around the county, amongst many other things as well. So that is the plan. I'm going to to the Theatre by the Lake this evening to go and see Die Viv and Rose. So looking forward to that. It's in the round, I'm told. Sounds like a fun and interesting and profound play to watch. So looking forward to that. I saw Dear England, the end of the Gareth Southgate play. Saw that in Nottingham last week. If you get a chance to see Dear England, it's all about sort of, the journey that Southgate went on with the England team. You don't have to be into football to enjoy it. So I commend to you Dear England, if that comes anywhere near you.
Did you remember the Borrowers? Do you remember one of the actors that played Arietti? Did you recognise Arietti? Because she's in Dear England.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't. That's amazing, because there's a few female characters. Mostly it's male characters, but there are a few female characters. Right, I shall make the connection next.
Yeah, okay, we're very proud that little Arietti is now in Dear England.
Oh, that's great. I love how you fly the flag and for all the stuff that goes through Theatre by the Lake, Rachel. Thank you. Right. Good to see you all this week. Thank you. See you all again same time next week. Cheerio.